Hey guys, it's Adam from the AeroWorks Workshop and the AeroWorks Academy. And today we're going to talk about something that you don't hear about a lot on the internet, and that is drone insurance. Now, whether you just passed your 107 and you're ready to get out and start making money with your drone, or you're a hobbyist and maybe you're going to go just take some pictures of your friend's picnic, one thing that you might want to think about is having drone insurance. Now, we're going to talk about the different types of drone insurance, some online and app vendors that provide that insurance, and as well as annual insurance and some of the terms that you may hear when you're selecting your insurance provider. So stick around. Now, when you get ready to select the type of insurance that you're going to purchase for your drone, there's really two main types of drone insurance, UAV insurance, that are available on the market today. One is your typical aircraft annual policy. The other is what we now refer to as on-demand drone insurance. Now, when we first became a drone company and began requiring insurance, we had to go with an annual policy. And these were very expensive in the beginning because insurance companies just didn't know what could happen with the drone. Typical rate was around, for $1 million of insurance, was $1,000 plus a year. So you can imagine, if you're out doing construction, mapping, working on a construction site, and you're working with a large construction company, they may require $5 million of insurance. And you can imagine that could be a $5,000 bill a year, and that's only for one drone. If you have 5 or 6 different drones, small ones, large ones, you would have to have that on every single drone. So that could be very expensive. Well, what came out a few years ago was something called on-demand drone insurance. And this is where you basically buy insurance by the hour, and you could use any of your drones. So if you want to fly an Autel today, you could insure that for an hour. 2 hours later, you could fly a Mavic Pro, and so on. And this became a very nice way to actually be responsible and have drone insurance, but not be out thousands of dollars a year when you might only fly your drone once or twice a month. So today we're going to talk about specifically the on-demand drone insurance providers, and there's actually 2 that we use, and we'll give you the pros and cons of both. And we're going to go ahead and go to our tablet, and we're going to show you some of those icons, how the apps work, some of the features of each, and which one we like better. So let's go ahead and take a look at the tablet, and we'll go ahead and go into each of the software. Now, one thing I want to mention before we go into the apps is there are really, along with 2 types of insurance, one being annual, one being on demand, there is also 2 types of insurance that you can purchase, meaning you can have just liability insurance, which protects you against injuring persons or property. And then there's what's called in the aircraft industry hull insurance, H-U-L-L. And that basically means not only do I want to insure myself against injuring others should something go wrong with my drone, but I also want to protect my investment. You know, again, an Autel or a Mavic, you know, maybe you're out $1,000, $2,000 bucks, but when you start talking about, you know, M200s, M600s with FLIR sensors and such, you could be upwards of $10,000 to $25,000. So having a hull insurance is something that's very important. And until recently, you could only get hull insurance with an annual policy. But that has all changed with some of the new apps that are out now. So now let's go ahead and go into the apps. All right, so let's go ahead and go into our UAS folder. We're going to start with a company called Verifly, and they were really the first on-demand insurance provider out there. And what they allow you to do is install this app interface onto your computer, and using your GPS, your internet connection, it knows where you are. So if you're at a site, you can basically just start off right there. You'll get an insurance quote, and you can go right from there. So you can see right here, we're located on this street here, 18th Street, and in this particular location, with the current settings, which are down in the lower left here, we have $1 million of insurance. It's covering us in a 1/4 mile radius, and we have an hour of insurance. It's going to cost us $10. Now, if we hit the options button in the lower right-hand corner, you can see that we can change some of these things. So we may want to do a larger radius. We may want to go for a longer duration, 1 hour, 4 hours, or a full day. We may need to up the limit. Maybe we're doing a special event and it requires $5 million of insurance. You can see that we've now bumped it up to $34 for 1 hour of $5 million insurance. You can also change the weight. So most drones that people are flying nowadays are under 15 pounds, but if you needed to fly something heavier, you could actually go all the way up to 35 pounds. And then they have some other options here, outdoors, indoors, both. You know, you might be flying a manufacturing facility, getting beauty shots of the outside, and then you're going to go inside and fly the interior. So maybe you want to have coverage for both in and out. They also have racing here, so FPV racing, things like that. You can begin the insurance right away, or you could schedule it. You could set all your flights up and schedule it for a future date. And do things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click the return to the map. I'm going to reset this to 1 million just so we have a apples to apples comparison here. I'm going to go back to the map. Now there's a couple things that you can do within the Verifly app. And if you look at the upper hand left corner, there is an icon for kind of the user information. This is where you're going to, after you've set up your account and you've got an email address and a contact information, you can do things like add additional insureds. So this is something in the insurance agent industry that if you're working, let's say, a construction site, you may find that the construction company wants to also be named as an additional insured on your policy just to cover all bases. So this is where you could add an additional insured. You could put in there, you know, whatever you want to do. I'm going to put Acme Construction, and it's basically just a name. You hit save. And now when you get your policy emailed to you, which all these apps do, as soon as you activate it, you'll have an additional insured company, in this case, Acme Construction. So I'm going to go back, and we'll go back to the map one more time. Now, so now if I go get insurance, you're going to see what's covered here. 1 hour of coverage for the selected area, injury to people or property, use of any drone up to 15 pounds for profit or fun. What's not covered, and this is the important part, damage to your drone, cargo or accessories, flying indoors or above 400 feet, and organized drone races. So again, we did not select racing, we did not select indoors, and obviously we're not allowed to fly above 400 feet with the exception of doing inspections and things like that. So in this case, this is the policy that we have. Now you can see additional insureds. I can hit the drop down and select an additional insured person, select for my additional insured. I could say Acme Construction here, and we'll check that, add to the policy, return to the quote, and now we have one additional insured, we have the company insured, it's $10, and my credit card is already on file. I would just hit purchase. And that means instantly I would then have a policy starting from this minute, an hour, for 1 hour from this point. And the nice thing is that the app will actually tell you that you're insured, and it will begin a countdown timer showing you how many minutes you have left on the policy. Now let's talk about a couple of the issues with this particular app. Verifly, one of the issues that I have with it is it only allows you to pick a radius. You cannot pick a polygon or a square. You only get an option for the various sizes, that being 1/4 mile to 2 mile radius. And you can see just by me switching to 2 miles, I've now put myself not only in an airspace, but also around some universities or educational facilities, and that's obviously increased the price quite a bit. So one thing to note, that when you see the little cap on the map icon, that means that there's some type of a school there. Now most of us would think, well, that's a university, that's a college, maybe a big high school, but this could be something as small as a hair salon training center. We've had that happen where we've been trying to fly a mission, and there was a small little hair salon in a strip mall that taught hair, manicuring and beauty salon, what have you, and that jacked our price way up. And now what you can do with the map is you can slide this radius around, play with the options of the size of the radius as well as the location. But what you may find is that you can't fit your mapping area, your construction site, within that circle without still grabbing a portion of the hospital, helipad, or the airport, or an educational institution. So that's one downside with Verifly, is that you can only adjust the radius, you cannot adjust the shape of your flight, your mission plan. One of the positives we do like, and this goes back to that the additional insured names, is that if you have a lot of customers you fly for that you're constantly adding to your policies as additionally insured, that list stays stored in your account. So you don't have to type them in every time. You just simply pick from the list, add it to that policy, and you're good to go. And that's important for one reason, because we're going to be comparing this to another newer on-demand insurance policy company, and they do not have that option at this time, and we're going to get into that one next. The other thing you get with Verifly is you do have a flight history. It shows you the dates and times. You can go in and see what it costs you. You can see a map. You can see ones that you have scheduled, ones that are currently active, and so on. And then everything else is here in the frequently asked questions or feedback, how to file a claim, etc. You know, obviously we've never had to file a claim, but it's been nice knowing that we always had the insurance we needed instantly on demand. And it is pretty much, I believe, available now in all 50 states. There was a time when New York did not allow the on-demand. That has since changed, and now you can get insurance in New York. Now, policies typically for Verify, I would say the average is $10 an hour. But again, as soon as you encroach on a school, close to a helipad, airport, it can go 16, 20, 25 on up for just that quarter-mile, $1 million policy. So just be aware of that. Now we're going to talk about another on-demand insurance company, and that is SkyWatch. And this is one that we've recently started using. We evaluated it for a little while. We began using it in our day-to-day operations, and we're finding that it is a lot more user-friendly. It has some additional features. It's cheaper, and they continue to give you discounts for safe flights, similar to some of the car insurance companies now. So you go out and let's say you fly for 5 hours, or you at least buy 5 hours of insurance, you might get a 5% discount, and so on, and it keeps going up and up and up. They also have the ability to upload your flight data, whether that be from a DJI copter or from something like air data off your computer. You can upload some of your flights that have been at least 5 minutes or longer, and I think they require a minimum of 5 flights to be uploaded. They evaluate those flights, the areas you flew, how you flew, and then they give you a rating on safety. And that can be applied to another discount, sometimes up to 20% off. So you can see that in this same area, I haven't changed anything here. You adjust the radius in SkyWatch by clicking this dot in the lower right-hand corner. I'll change it down to 1/8 of a mile, so I can even go smaller with this one. And you can see that this one is $9.60 an hour. Now that is because I've already started using this app, and I'm getting discounts applied to my account. So right out of the gate, I'm already cheaper as it is. But let's say we have an area that we just can't work without changing that radius. Now remember, we talked about that with Verifly, in that you can move the circle around, but sometimes you're going to move it off of the area that you want to be insured in, and that doesn't work. So what we're going to do here, we're going to zoom down to an area, and I'm going to switch to satellite view just to make it a little bit easier. So we'll switch to satellite view, and you can see here that above the price, it's giving me 2 other indicators, one being a road icon, the other being an airport or an airplane icon, and that's telling me why the price may increase in this area. So if I slide that circle into the red, you can see that now I've jumped from $9.60 an hour to $16 an hour, and the reason is because I'm over a road, I am in an airspace, and they want me to be aware of that. You can see how even the road has been highlighted yellow, and that's indicating why that price has increased. Now right here, you can see just by moving this square, I've reduced it to $9.60 because I'm not over the road anymore. But let's say that this circle just didn't work for us because maybe we wanted to get this little triangle area in the corner here of this farm. So what we can do is by clicking the polygon icon, we're going to switch to actually defining our own map. And we just have to select 3 points. And then we can simply drag this to the shape we want. And now you can see that I've defined an area that's a square right up to that airspace line, right up to that highway line, and now I'm still at 960 an hour. So that's a huge benefit when you're flying 5 days a week. You know, the cost of insurance begins to add up. So this is a really nice feature that SkyWatch has allowed us to do, and that is actually be able to define a square area of operations versus a radius. One other feature that they've added that is not in Verifly is that you see right above the polygon icon, there's a little sun and clouds icon. If I touch that, I get an immediate weather snapshot of the area that I'm going to be flying in. So in this case, it's partly cloudy, it's 45 degrees, I've got the wind direction, wind speed, visibility, and so on. So I don't have to switch out to another app to find my weather and one app to do this and so on. So I'm going to hit OK on that. Now, the map defaults to the location that you're currently at, but let's say I'm traveling and tomorrow I'm going to be in California and I want to kind of get an idea on insurance. I can simply go up to the magnifying glass in the upper right hand corner and I can say Sacramento, California, and it's going to take me kind of to the city center, and then I can simply zoom around, find the area that I want. I could put an exact address in there if I wanted to. Now both apps do have this feature where you can search for an address, which makes it kind of nice. You could even put in you know, specific names of things if you wanted to. But we can, you know, then zoom in, we can get an idea. Let's say that looks like a park right here. Let's say this was the area that I wanted to do insurance in. We could set our radius again. And again, here it was $16 an hour because I've got a highway there on the right. But if I slide slightly off of there, it's $6.40 an hour. Okay. I would then simply hit go. I could then pick some other options here. I can do it now. I can schedule it. I could get a monthly cost to fly this same site for a whole month. Would only cost me $39. I'm getting a $22.32 discount. So you can see there's a lot of really cool features within the SkyWatch app. Now, one other thing I briefly mentioned in the beginning was hull insurance, and that is when you want to insure not only yourself against liability of injuring other people or property, but I want to also insure my aircraft. I've spent a lot of money on my drone. I want to make sure that if it does crash, if a seagull hits it, I throw a prop, battery failure, that I have insurance to cover my drone when I'm out on that same mission. So in this case, I have the option here to add hull insurance. So I'm going to hit add hull insurance. Now one thing, this is only available on the higher tier. So if I'm doing, say, hourly, I don't have that option for hull insurance. However, if I do monthly, you can see that now I have the option to add hull insurance as well as annual. So let's do a monthly insurance policy at this location. You can see they've already got auto renew checked. You could uncheck that obviously if you needed to. You can see where you add your additional insured. But let's do the add hull insurance. This is how simple it is. We're going to add hull insurance, and we don't have any drones or equipment in here. So we're going to add a drone. Now what they ask that we do is we allow our camera to access the app, which we've allowed. And we're just going to take a picture of our drone here. So we take a picture of it, boom, showing that we actually have a drone. We're going to hit the checkbox, and then we're going to put some information in here. So this case, it's an Autel. The model is an Evo. The serial number is, 1234567, and we're going to give it a value of $950. Okay, and we're going to say confirm. So in this case, it's given us the value, the premium, and the deductible right here. So we can save that. Now we have an aircraft that is been inserted into our account. And now we have hull insurance. You can see here down at the bottom kind of the summary. We have our liability. It started at $62, but I'm currently getting a 36% discount. So that took it $22.32 off. The drone premium was $11.09, but I got another discount. And so for the entire month, with drone insurance and hull insurance, it's $48.55. That's a pretty amazing deal. If you broke that down annually, you know, we're talking half the price of what a typical annual policy would be costing. So we would then, and here again, here's your guidelines. It starts now, ends in 1 month. Gives you all the specs there, up to 55 pounds. You got to fly within FAA rules. And what's covered. And in this case, we have property damage, bodily injury, privacy claims, and damage to the drone body. So that's something that we didn't see checkmarked when we didn't have the whole insurance. So these are really cool features. And you can see here again, I can go into my history. I can see my flights, how much I paid, the dates and times. We can just get monthly quotes. We can get annual quotes. We can look at our current discounts. So currently, with the SkyWatch app, I'm getting 36% off, and that's based on a combination of the flights that I've taken just by using the app, as well as I've uploaded, I believe it was 5 logs from air data, which I was able to download from the app and then email to their support team. And in a day or two, you get an email back saying, hey, congratulations, here's your safety score, use this discount code, and it took an additional amount of money off of there. They also even give you right on this screen here how to upload your flights. It goes into you know, how you do a DJI flight log and things like that, how to upload from air data. So they're giving you all of the help right on their screen, right within the app, which is very nice. And it talks to you about the minimum fly of 5 flights, 5 minutes per piece, and so on. And you can see here the tiers that you can actually get after your score increases. So I'm currently with this app at silver, and that's how much you get off of the base rate and so on. So again, they'll give you additional time for hours of flight within the app. Now, some of us may have thousands of hours of UAV flight time, but what they're specifically talking about here is when you hit buy 1 hour of time, even if you fly for 15 minutes, that's your first hour within their app, and that's what they're basing it off of. So after 5 hours of insurance time, the appropriate amount of discount will apply. All right, guys, I hope that helped you make a few decisions about your next drone insurance provider. Again, if you have any questions, comments, you know of another app that we may not know about, make sure you leave a comment down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. And check out some of our other videos and playlists. We have videos on 107 training, sectional charts, airspace, aircraft reviews, software, apps, and just about everything in between. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, it's Adam with AeroWorks Productions and the AeroWorks Academy.